The showdown between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis is one of the most anticipated fights of the year, and the Chechen enters as a slight favorite to win. While many MMA fans find it absurd that Dricus is the underdog in the betting lines, this time it was none other than the champion himself, Dricus du Plessis, who addressed the issue. Check out exactly what the South African had to say about being labeled the underdog, and the powerful message that Khamzat Chimaev received today from his future opponent. Statement that has heated up the MMA world even more. Known for defying the odds and flipping fights in which he was counted out, the South African doesn't shy away from pressure. Instead, he embraces the role of the underdog, using it as fuel for his victories. Here's how Dricus responded to being the betting underdog, where he firmly states he has a main weapon to end Khamzat Chimaev's reign. I'm the underdog. I've been the underdog for most of my career, yet I am the champion. Odds don't make fights, and for me, I 100% believe this is the best opponent I have faced to date, but so was the previous one. Every time you step in there, you're going to face the next most dangerous guy, especially as the champion. So for me, yes, this is the best opponent I've ever come up against, but once again, I'll show my improvements and why I am the champion. With my style, that is a very controversial style in the UFC, unlike anything most people have ever seen. It's only a benefit because it's proven to be effective, but then again, how do you prepare for that? How do you find somebody to mimic that? And at the end of the day, that's my niche. It's almost impossible to prepare for me because where do you find somebody to mimic it? The champion's words echo what countless analysts and fighters have already pointed out. No one fights like Dricus du Plessis, and that unpredictability has proven to be a lethal weapon. His unorthodox movements, strikes launched from odd angles, and his ability to keep pressing forward even when visibly exhausted make him a puzzle that no one has been able to solve. At UFC 319, Dricus will have the chance to prove once again that no matter the odds or statistics, his controversial style is indeed his superpower. And if he successfully neutralizes Khamzat's initial storm, Chechen may find out in the most painful way possible why so many believe it's impossible to prepare for du Plessis. The ever-controversial Strickland also decided to speak up, delivering statements that are bound to shake the confidence of Chimaev's supporters. Known for his unfiltered takes, Strickland exposed behind-the-scenes training stories with Chimaev and launched a brutal psychological jab at him. Chimaev is just a fucking... I was there when he retired from COVID. I was training with him. There's a video of me, and I was like, oh, you're so good. You're better than everybody, and I'm being sarcastic. You can pick high-level UFC fighters, but you go and starch this one-to-one guy. But there's guys like Edmund, high-level UFC fighters, and you're picking the one-to-one fighter because you think he's the same height as your opponent? No, dude. You're picking him because he can fight, but mentally, he's just a weak man. Strickland's words bring up one of the biggest questions surrounding Chimaev's career, his mental toughness. Physically, the Chechen is viewed as a machine, capable of steamrolling opponents with his aggressive wrestling and explosiveness. But the American suggests that behind the image of invincibility, there's a mental fragility that could compromise his performance when the fight doesn't go according to plan. On the other hand, the South African champion has proven to be unpredictable, resilient, and capable of fighting even when exhausted, a factor that could expose potential cracks in Chimaev's mental armor. Strickland's comments also revive old debates about Chimaev's brief retirement during the pandemic and his choice of opponents, decisions questioned by fellow fighters. For fans, this only heightens the anticipation and drama surrounding UFC 319. Does Chimaev truly possess the mental fortitude required to endure du Plessis' chaotic and unpredictable style? Dricus admitted that yes, he feels the pressure and weight of this fight against Chimaev. However, the South African made it clear that he's ready to face not just his rival, but also the burden of carrying a championship belt and proving once again why he is considered one of the most complete fighters in MMA today. We are not fighting for the wrestling title, we are fighting for the UFC title. And that's where I am the best. I am not the best wrestler or striker, but when you put all those things together, that is where I am the best in the world. For me, pressure is such a big part of the game. If you don't feel any pressure, then you don't care enough. For me, the pressure comes from me putting a high expectation on myself. Going back home without it, my belt is not an option for me. The pressure is there, not only to win, but to perform to the best of my abilities, and being better than the previous outing. With this, champion sends a direct message to Khamzat Chimaev. Brute force and explosiveness alone will not determine the outcome at UFC 319. It will come down to the ability to endure, adapt, and evolve. This stance also reinforces the mental aspect of the fight. While many fighters crumble under the pressure of defending a title, du Plessis shows that he embraces that pressure as an essential part of his greatness. For him, stepping into the cage without feeling the responsibility to deliver his best would be a sign of indifference. And that's not an option. The fight against Khamzat won't just be about who has the best wrestling or the sharpest striking, but about who can piece together all elements of the fight more efficiently. In the end, the big question remains, will Khamzat's aggressive wrestling be enough to break the champion's confidence? Or will du Plessis' blend of technique, calmness, and unpredictability prevail once again? As UFC 319 approaches, the narrative surrounding this fight feels increasingly inevitable. Khamzat Chimaev is maybe about to face the biggest ghost of his career, and it's not Dricus du Plessis himself, but his own mind. Strickland's words resonate like a grim warning. Mentally, he's just a weak man. The phrase hits hard. It's not just trash talk. It's a reminder that behind the intimidating glare and overwhelming wrestling, there could be a crack in the foundation. And in MMA, when that crack opens, it can swallow an entire aura of invincibility. What makes it even more dangerous is the man standing on the other side, the South African champion. A man who has turned the underdog label into fuel to build a reign. For him, going home without the belt is simply not an option. He thrives in chaos, feeds on it, and inside the octagon, he turns uncertainty into his deadliest weapon. His controversial style is almost impossible to predict, and now stands as the biggest nightmare of Chimaev's career. This fight isn't just about technique or physical preparation, it's about mental endurance. It's about what happens when plan A fails, when your lungs are burning, when the strategy falls apart, your opponent is still standing, smiling. And pressing forward, Khamzat has shown brute strength. He's bulldozed opponents, but he has never faced someone like du Plessis, unpredictable, resilient, and willing to drag the fight into a place where the mind speaks louder than the muscles. From another perspective, perhaps Dricus isn't Chimaev's biggest threat. Perhaps the real threat lies within himself, lurking by his side, 24/7. Khamzat Chimaev might be about to confront the biggest ghost of his career, and it's not Dricus du Plessis per se, but his own mind. That's where the true danger. If Strickland is right, and Khamzat's mentality is indeed fragile, UFC 319 could spiral into a nightmare. Because Dricus doesn't need to be faster or stronger. He just needs to drag Khamzat into the depths of chaos. That same place where many have drowned. Let the Chechen's mind do the rest. The question hanging in the air is inevitable. Are we about to witness the end of the Wolf's undefeated streak and dominance? Will Khamzat Chimaev, the man who seemed unstoppable, finally face someone who not only withstands his storm but makes him collapse under pressure? At UFC 319, it's not just a belt on the line. Khamzat Chimaev's very legend is at stake. Maybe when that octagon door closes, what will determine everything won't be the power of his punches, but the strength or fragility of his mind. If you're a true MMA fan and love staying up to date with everything happening in the fight world, you definitely need to check out these two videos popping up on your screen. These two videos are crucial. I'm absolutely sure you're going to enjoy them and stay informed on all the latest MMA news. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to help us spread the word. See ya next time.